I was waiting others to join, but okay, let's continue. So most of the members are here. Okay. So in today's session, we are going to understand different script types, how the scripts are executing, the execution order of the scripts, client side glide API classes, server side glide API classes, and also how to write code in scoped applications or private applications or even anywhere in ServiceNow, how to write this logic we will discuss. So first we will focus on understanding different script types in ServiceNow. What are the different types of scripts we have in ServiceNow? Then we will move on with the understanding APIs and so on. Okay. So let's understand different script types. So we have, as I said, right, two different types of scripts. One is client side and another one is server side. So in client side we have few script types, and in server side we have few script types. Okay, so let's understand first the script type. I mean, this is one is belongs to server side. Belongs to server side. Business rules are belongs to server side. So if you have worked earlier on database concept, you can correlate this concept. Otherwise, it's not required to understand anything. So business rules are server-side script types, and these business rules will get execute whenever we perform operation. So what operation? What does it mean operation? So when you insert a record, when you update a record, when you delete a record, when you access a record, all this we call as a database operations. Okay. So as part of the business logic, as part of the customization or configuration of the app, so we may have to uh, before inserting a record or after inserting a record, before updating, after updating, we have to write certain logics. Okay, so for that, we will have to use the business rules. Okay. So business rules are four types. One is before business rule. Second one is after business rule. Third one is display business rule. Fourth one is asynchronous business rule. So order you can change it after, before, after, async, and display. After, sorry, before, after, async, and display business rule. So let's understand what are those. I was talking about this four. Okay, before, after, async, and display. So let's understand before business rule. Before business rule, your application is here, the form. We have designed our application, right? IBM travel app, something. Okay. So when you click on a create new, it opens the form and you as a user, you enter the details. So once you click on a submit, directly it will go to table and it will insert right now. Okay. But before inserting, if you would like to write a logic before inserting, if you want to make sure the data is correct, or if you want to modify the data which you entered before sending to table, if you would like to modify here, you can do that. So before inserting, you can cross verify, you can also manipulate or modify the data. Then finally, if everything is fine, you can allow the data to table, which means if you don't have a before business rule, directly it will send it to table. It will send it to table. If you have a before business rule, so before sending it to table, it will reach to before business rule, and it will make sure and it verifies your logic. If logic is fine, then only it will allow that record to insert, else it will throw the error message on the form. Clear? Any questions on this?
Sir, is there any code to write this business rules?
Sorry,
Is there any code to write these business rules?
code. I didn't get you. I'm sorry. Code to
S-
write means.
Means we have to apply this before business rule, no?
Huh.
How to write means how to access in this our platform.
Yeah, I will definitely take scenario and I'll implement it. And as I said, it's a theory class. I want to make you familiar with the all these names and its functionality. So once we complete the discussion, first I will take the client side scenarios and I'll implement all client side script types. And after that, I'll take server side scenarios. I'll implement all these things. You will understand.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so scripting, yeah. So this is a before business rule. I'll cover the scripting. Means all I'll take scenarios and I'll implement it. You no need to worry about it. Okay. So understand. So and also you can see the definition. Use before business rule when field values on a record. When field values on a record need to be modified before the database access occurs. Okay. So for example, let me navigate to our application. Okay, I'll come back on this. So what happens? We have caller. Are you agree with me? We have caller field on our form, right? In database, we have a caller from destination. Apart from that, even we have what you call first name and last name as well. Okay, first name and last name as well. So in form, we don't have first name and last name. In form, we don't have first name and last name, but in form, we have that. Form in form, we have. So in 1 second, I don't know. This is taking something else. Okay, let me give me one moment. I think it's I opened in a private browser, so that is a problem. Okay, in table we have 10 fields. In form we have configured only 7 fields or 8 fields. Remaining 2 fields we don't have on the form. Let's say from destination, start date, return date, all these are there in the table, including that first name, last name. But those 2 fields, first name, last name, we don't have on the form. But the requirement is whenever user submits a booking, we have to store first name, last name in the table along with the other details. In such cases, you will have to manipulate, right? Before sending to table that record, you will have to manipulate. Means you will have to extract the first name, last name from the caller field, and you can store it in a table. So in such scenarios, you will have to use the before business rule. So before inserting data into table, you are modifying the record and sending that record to table will insert it. Okay, so like this, just I'm saying one scenario to make you understand. So like this, before before inserting, updating, deleting, if you want to take any actions, you can definitely make use of before business rule. Okay, all right, let me share my screen. We have to write a code. Business rules, we have to write a code. I'll show you how to write a code. Even we can configure business rules without writing code, but majority time you will have to write a code. So let's move on. Better, Irana, can you speak up here? Sometimes I'm missing your messages. Okay, so you will feel bad if I don't answer. It's not intentional. If you can speak up so that it will be good, you will also get confidence. Okay, all right. So the next one is after business rule. So after business rule executes their logic immediately after database operation occurs and before resulting form is rendered for the user. So it's all about the after business rule. Okay, so let's say you have record here. I mean, you have form, you enter the details, and once you click on a submit, before will execute in server side, then after that, the control will perform operation, whatever it is. After business rule will get execute and control will be returning back to user once it completes the execution of after business rule. Once it's execution of after business rule, it returns the control back to user. Okay. So use an after business rule when updates need to be made to a record related to the record accessed. Okay. If a record as a child records, use an after business rules to propagate a change from the parent record to child record. For example, you have parent and child incidents. And many employees raised an email outage issue. Okay, so one we will make it as a parent, remaining all we will make it as a child because it's the same issue, email outage in a organization due to some network or something, emails are not going. So many people will raise a incident, right? They are saying that, hey, I'm trying to send an email, it's not working. Can you please help us? Okay, so let's say 50 employees raise the same issue. In such cases, we can make we can make one incident as a parent, remaining we can make it all as a child's. So if you work on one incident, that is sufficient, right? If you resolve it, automatically you will be resolving all other incidents as well. Okay, so let's say you have 50 incidents and one is you made parent, remaining 49 are child incidents. And now you are working on the incident and you got the solution and you resolved it. You will have to close that incident, right? So once you close the parent incident, automatically it has to close all the child incidents. So here you open the parent incident and you selected closure complete and you clicked on update and it will reach to before. If any logic is there, it will execute. Then after that, it will reach to database. It will execute that. So once it completes the execution of uh, database operation, it will go here in after business rule. In after business rule, you can write a logic. After business rule, you can write a logic of updating all the child incidents to closed complete and then return the form. So which means you are closing all the child incidents, like propagating a change from parent to child. Clear? All right. So don't worry, but definitely you will have to remember the definitions and you will have to remember um, uh, the purpose of the business rules. But I'll take scenarios and I'll implement it so that you will correlate. All right. The next one is asynchronous business rule. So like after business rule, async business rule execute their logic after a database operation occurs, and async business rules execute on a different processing thread than before or after business rule. Okay, so they are queued by a scheduler. So what happens here after and async both works almost same, but the way it is executing, the way it is working is completely different. Both executes the async and after business rule will get execute after successful database operation, like after successful insert, update or delete. So after successful operation, the async or after will get execute. So here difference is asynchronous business rule. You have written a logic to close the child incidents, right? Earlier scenario. So if it is taking to complete that process of closing child incidents, let's say if it is taking 1 minute, and the user has to end user whoever updating, let's service desk agent whoever is updating incident, he has to wait 1 minute because the process is running and it's updating the child incidents, 50 child incidents. So until that he has to wait, user screen will be freezed. So which means the control will be given back to user only successful execution of after business rule. If after business rule takes time to execution, the user has to sit back and wait. But whereas in asynchronous business rule, as soon as control reaches to async, it will schedule, ServiceNow will schedule of that execution of the after business async business rule execution. Control will be given immediately user can continue with other work. He no need to wait, and user screen will not be freezed, so you can proceed with the other work. But in the back end, in the background, async business rule, I'm sorry, async business rule will get execute and it will be updated the table, or that logic will have to end. But here you will have to remember, if you need a response from that execution, if you need a after business rule response from that execution and you want to display on the form, then go with the after business rule. But if you don't want a response, you don't need to show that response on the your form, then you can go ahead with the asynchronous business rule. And asynchronous business rule we use to perform large operations, especially integrations, where if you want to send out an data to third party, so let it execute in the back end and let it update the tables. In such cases, so we will go with the async business rules, like updating a parent incidents, and then you want to show the confirm message saying that we closed all the child incidents. Confirm message, then you can go with the after business rule, because you have to confirm and you have to show to the user on the form. In such cases, you will have to go to after business rule. Okay. So when you perform large operation, if you would like to go with the if you perform large operation, you can go with the async. And if you are performing operations where the operation result required to show on the form, then go with the after business rule. All right. The next one is display business rule. So display business rule execute their logic when a form loads and record is loaded from the database. Display business rule execute their logic when a form loads and record is loaded from the database. It's a completely reverse what we have seen. Okay, it's a completely reverse. So where you can see, uh, as soon as you access the record, if you click on a record in the list layout, it will hit the table. It will go to table request and it will execute that, and it will give the, before displaying that record on the form, display will execute. Before you see the information on the browser, display will get execute and displays on the user form. It will display on the user form. Okay. So here in display business rule also, you can use it for manipulating it and storing the information in scratchpad variable. And scratchpad variable, you can utilize it in all other client side scripts. Okay. So business display is server side, display business rules are server side, And if you want to pass values from server side to client side, you will have to use Scratchpad here. Scratchpad is an object, g underscore Scratchpad. You can store values and you can access it from client side. Okay, I'll take the scenario and I'll show it how it works. So this is all about the four types of business rules: before, after, async, and display business rule. Okay, so my expectation is you will have to remember the name. So try to do R&D and try to prepare definitions for this, and also remember exactly the each business rule. But I'll show you scenarios. You don't worry about it. So you'll have to prepare a documentation before tomorrow. Okay. So use ChatGPT or Gemini and ask. So can you give me definition for before business rule, or ask why we have to use before business rule? If you are not clear, and if it's still not clear, then you can come back and you can ask me always. Okay. So it will give you more knowledge and more information. So if you spend more time, more information you will get it. Clear? Any questions?
No, sir.
Nagesh, in the first slide you show, right, first will be execute like client script, then server script, and this business rule belongs to server side, right?
Yeah, server side. I didn't get
So
you.
we
First
in the
slide. This
first
is
is
a APIs. APIs. Okay. So here I'm talking different script types.
okay. This
So
execution order of scripts, what is this?
I'll come back on this. All this I'll be discussing. Right now we are focusing on different script types. As part of that, the first one we discussed business rules.
Okay,
All right. The next one is script actions. So script action is another script type, and this also belongs to server side. It executes based on a event. Based on a event, it will execute. So whenever an event fires, we can fire this script action. So for this also you can we can take scenario. But remember, script action belongs to server side, and inside script action we can write the server side code, and based on a event, and script action executes asynchronously. Okay, without interaction, without require a request and response. So it will execute in the backend and it will give the result. Important one is script include. It is this is also belongs to by default server side, and script include. So we use to write or we will use script include to write reusable code. Reusable code. What does it mean? If you are using the same code again and again in multiple places, so instead of writing in multiple places, write at one place and use it from multiple places. Use it from multiple places. So that's called a reusability. In every programming, reusability is a very important concept. Okay. So if you want to write a reusable code or process related code, you can make use of script include and wrap that logic and invoke it or call it the script include. And the specialty of script include is, even though it is server side, it allows us to utilize it from client side scripts. Okay. The script usually server side scripts, we can't use it in client side. We can't use it in client side, and client side scripts, we can't use it in server side. Okay. But but few script types we can still utilize it from even client side if it is belongs to server side, but we can use it from client side as well. So one of the script is here script include. Even though it belongs to server side, we can call it from client side as well. All right. So remember this important point. Next one is a transform map. The transform map scripts are executed on the server side when we perform an import operation on a table. So this is all about executing a transform map when you are importing a data through the Excel file or from database or from the integrations before inserting data to target table. If you want to manipulate and if you want to map the column saying that from integration this is the column is coming, and in target table we can map it. So mapping the columns from source to target, and even we can also control of inserting duplicate or such kind of things we can control it. Okay, so this is all about script transform map. So this also we will configure and we will learn it. Okay, so the next one is client scripts. Next one is client scripts. So client scripts are executed on the client side, and their runtime environment is user's browser. The runtime environment is users. Already we discussed. So client side scripts are executing at client side, and it will execute in user's browser. That's what the definition is. So in client side scripts, so we have four types again. Client side, in client side scripts we have a client script. So in client scripts we have four types. In client scripts we have four types. Client scripts we have four types. One is on load, second one is on change, third one is on submit, fourth one is on cell edit. Okay, so four client scripts we have: on load, on change, on submit, and on cell edit. On load, on change, on submit, and on cell edit. Okay, all right. So let me show you how it works. Okay, on load. So when you access, for example, if I click on write, so what happens before displaying this record on the browser? Display will get execute, and after that control will be passed to client side. In client side, onload will get execute. Once it successfully execute, once onload execute successfully, it displays on the form. It displays on the form. Means after execution of onload only, we can see this information on the browser, which means before you see any record on the form or browser, before that it would have, I mean the service now will have executed display business rule and onload client script. Both are executed, then after that only you can see the form on the browser. And after that, after seeing, if you make changes to a field, if you make changes to field value, so for example, if I select a domestic, so on change will get execute. Okay, if I select a start date, if I change the start date, so it will execute on change. So on change of field value, on change client script will get execute. And then update or submit. If you click on update or submit, on submit client script will get execute. Okay, so this is about the three client scripts and all it will execute on the form. The last one is on cell edit. On cell edit executes on the list. So here everything is a cell. For example, if I give double click or if I give double click here, you can see on cell edit. All these are cells. Okay, all these are cells. Okay, so all these are cells. So if you want to validate this cell values edit, you can make use of on submit. Sorry, on cell edit. On cell edit works only on the list layout, whereas on load, on change, on submit works on the form. On cell edit is dedicated to list layout. Remember this. The next one is UI actions. The buttons, update button, submit button, all we call as a UI actions. If you would like to create a new button on the form or on the list, we have to use concept called UI action and we can create it. So UI actions belongs to server side. Client scripts belongs to client side. UI actions belongs to server side script. UI policies, client side. So it's alternative to onload and on change. So whenever you want to implement making field mandatory, read only, visibility, directly without writing any logic, you can go with the UI policies. But if you want to implement uh, these things and also writing a custom logic and all, you can go with the onload and on change. So UI policies are alternative to onload and on change. UI policies are alternative to onload and on change, unload and unchange. And this UI policies you can configure without writing code. You no need to write any logic or code here. Just you can configure, but it's majorly focusing on whenever you want to make fields mandatory, read only, and control the visibility. You can go with the UI policies. Sorry, UI pages. UI script. It's a reusable code like script include. Server side, we have a script include where we can write a reusable code, right? In client side, we have UI script. We can make use of this and we can write the reusable code at client side. Means client side scripts, we can write reusable code. Are being tied from the platform. So work flow design. Okay, so flow design also belongs to server side, and we can design to execute sequence of activities. Execute sequence
Hi Nagesh,
of
why this Nagesh?
can
It's
execute
breaking.
Sir, your voice is
flow.
breaking.
So from when is it? Okay, what about now?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, all right. So this is all about the different script types. Okay, so we have both in client side and server side. So we have so many script types, right? Around 9 to 10 script types. So let's understand the execution order, how the scripts are executing. So I'll show you in the form how it will be executed. So as soon as you access a record, any record, display will get execute. Display will get execute, and display will display the display will execute server side it is, and once it is execute successfully, control will pass to client side. In client side, onload will get execute, and then form will be displayed on the browser. Okay, so before you see this form on the browser, two scripts should have executed. One is display, second one is onload. And after that, if you make changes on change, and if you click on a submit, on submit will execute. So once you submit the record successfully, then the control will reach to server side again. So there it will, after clicking on a submit or update, it will reach to server side. So first it will go to before business rule, that will execute, and if it is logic is failed, it will return the error message. If everything is fine, then it will perform the operation on the table like inserting, updating, it will perform. So once performed the successfully operation, after business rule will get execute, and it will perform the after business rule logic, or asynchronous will get execute. It will perform in the background, and control will be given back to user, and user can continue work. In between, if you have called script include inside business rules or transform maps, so those will get execute. Okay, so this is about the execution orders of the all the scripts. So inside we can make use of UI scripts, or you can make use of script includes as part of the logic. So these are the few basic scripts which executes in a sequence. First, as soon as you access, server side script display will execute, unload, then on change, on submit, then control will be passed to business rules. Before will execute, perform operation, after will execute, then async, then control will be given back to user. Okay, so this is all about the execution orders. Any questions so far? Okay,
No,
so
sir.
here, yeah, thank you. So here script types, it's a placeholders, okay? Business rules, all these are placeholders. Inside you will have to write a logic. To write a logic, you will have to use JavaScript and also with combination of APIs, ServiceNow APIs. Okay, so in all client-side scripts, you will have to use JavaScript and also client-side glide API classes. Client-side glide API classes. In server-side script types like business rules, transform apps, and all, you will have to write a server-side script, server-side JavaScript, and also you will have to use server-side glide API classes. When you are writing a client-side code, it's a combination of JavaScript and client-side glide APIs. When you are writing a server-side logic, it's a combination of JavaScript and server-side glide API classes. Okay, so we know JavaScript and we know different script types, both client-side and server-side. Now we are going to understand. Now we are going to understand API classes. So what is API? Why we have to use along with the JavaScript? So why can't we directly write a JavaScript? Okay. So let's understand what is API. Any idea what is API? What is API?
Industry API is that four methods is there.
Mhm.
Put a put method, post method, get method,
Okay.
delete method.
Yeah. So let
In
me
between the
give you more. Go ahead, please.
in between the client side and server side, in between the REST APIs inside.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you want, I mean, let me give more information. What is API? Application Platform Interface. Application Programming Interface. So we use this API to utilize the existing functionality. API is also predefined programming and it contains a lot of functionality. You can use it, ready-made functionality. What does it mean, ready-made? So which means they have already developed and they have given in form of methods. So different methods we have here in each API. So those methods you can make use as part of the creating a logic. So which means, for example, you are implementing a business rule. So inside business rule, you can write a JavaScript and you can make use of this ready-made functionality. You can make use of this ready-made functionality. Okay, I'll show you how to use it, all this ready-made functionality later. But now let's try to understand API and API classes, different API classes. So let's say if you don't want to use APIs, what happens? You will have to write a lot of lines code, and the logic you will have to write it by your own. But if you use API, you can save a lot of time because already they have implemented functionality and they are giving in form of a method. Just you can invoke the method and you can utilize it. You can invoke the method and you can utilize it, so that it will be much faster. Development will be much faster uh, than the without using APIs. Okay, if you use APIs, it will be much faster. If you don't use API classes as part of the writing a logic, it takes a lot of time. And also in ServiceNow, without using this APIs, you will not be able to write only JavaScript also, because they have created a dependency. It's a platform. So you will have to use APIs with the combination of JavaScript. Hmm. So let's understand first what are the client-side Glide API classes. Already integrated, all these API classes are integrated in ServiceNow platform. Just we will have to use it as it is. Okay. So let's understand what are the API classes we have. So one is glide form. One is glide form. So here the glide form, uh, the name says, as name says, it provides, as name says, it provides all the form related functionality, all its form related functionality. What does it mean? So in form, if you want to make mandatory, read only, visibility, all such kind of things, if you want to do on the form, already they have functions in glide form. You can make use and you can implement it. So for example, if you would like to make a field read only on your form. So in client side script type, you can write this line. In onload, you can write it. It will execute and it will make a field read only. Okay. And if you want to set a value, if you want to update a value, if you want to access a value, like this method, set read only method we have, right? So like this, in glide form, we have 30 to 40 methods. If you want to access those methods, you will have to remember this object, global object. If you want to access glide form methods, you will have to use G underscore form global object. So by using G underscore form put dot, it will show you list of available methods. And for each method, it will show you the description as well. You can read and understand and you can use it. But I'll show you how to use all these things. At this moment, remember, glide form is a API class in ServiceNow, which will provide all form related functionality. And also it is a client side. And if you want to use this API class, you will have to use global object G underscore form. Okay, so many are there like this G underscore form, G underscore set form, set value, get value, so on. The next one is glide user. The glide user class contains methods and properties that can be used to retrieve session information related to currently logged in user and user roles. Okay, so which means the glide user. The name, as name says, it provides all user related functionality, logged in user related. Like if you want to access that information in client side scripts, you will have to use G underscore user. G underscore user. So let's say if you want to get the username, logged in username or user ID, or as a role, you can make use of glide user and you can get all the user related functionality, means username, user ID, user email, user gender, all such kind of things in client side scripts. So all this will be required as part of implementing a logics, okay, or business scenarios. Glide menu, we will not use this one, but it provides all menu related functionality. Glide list also very rarely used. This provides all list related. So in coding, when you want to access the list information, you can make use of glide list too. And the glide dialog window, this is a model pop-up. So if you want to show a pop-up, you can make use of this glide dialog window. This also very rarely used. Glide Ajax, very frequently we will have to use. So Glide Ajax, by using Glide Ajax, so we will implement Ajax functionality. So which means if you want to call script include from client side, so script include is a script type which belongs to server side, right? If you want to call script include from client side, so we can make use of Glide Ajax. By using Glide Ajax, you can invoke the script include and you can call the or utilize the script include functionality. Okay, so here to use the glide Ajax, you will have to create an object. We don't have a global object for this. So where GA equal to new glide Ajax and pass the script include name which you want to invoke or which you want to call. So once you call this method, once you create this object, so by using this GA, you can access the methods of the script include or functions of the script include. So we have a separate process. So we have to use add param, and you can specify which function you are calling and what is the parameter you are sending. And I mean, once you're done with these parameters, you will have to process the results. But here, whenever you want to send parameters, it should be prefix syspam underscore user, syspam underscore the name. It's a public method name. So all you will have to use it. All right. Okay. So this is about the client side Glide API classes. So my expectation is remember the Glide form, Glide user, and Glide Ajax. Okay. So these three classes, you try to prepare a document and remember about it, description. Okay. So the next one is server side API classes. In server side API classes, especially I mean, server side APIs, like we have many different classes, but few important classes we have. So where it will be used to deal with the database management, deal with the database management. Okay. So server side Glide APIs exposes Java classes and methods on the server that can be used to extend the use of the platform by exposing access to resources and the database. Before moving with the server side APIs, any questions on client side Glide API classes?
No, sir.
All right. So let's move on and let's understand server-side Glide API classes. So here, all these classes are created in Java, but you no need to learn Java. They have already done, and just we need to understand how to use it. All right. So in server side, we have API called Glide Record. So Glide Record is a special Java class exposed to enable developers to perform database operations by writing simple JavaScript code that executes on the server side. Okay. So the Glide Record class can be used to perform insert, update, delete, or query operations on the database. So in ServiceNow, if you want to insert a record, update a record, delete a record, this will happen through the Glide record.
Sir, your
In
voice is
business
breaking.
rules, you will get execute. Oh, okay. 1 second. What about now? Is it better?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure why it is. Okay. So here we have a data. When you want to perform database operations, we have to use Glide record. Okay. So by using Glide record, you can perform the database operations like inserting, updating, deleting, and accessing the information from the table. And we have many methods. So if you want to use Glide record, you will have to create an object. So here you can see it's created an object where gr equal to new glide record and pass the table name so that it will connect to this table. It is equivalent to, if you are already aware about the database, it is equivalent to select star from incident. So which means it gets all the incidents and it will store it in a gr. And once you get the incidents in a gr variable, then you can filter, you can apply a filter and you can access the information and you can process it and you can update and you can insert all such kind of operations you can perform. But you will have to create a first object, then add a filter conditions by using a methods of glide record. We have a add query, add not null query. So many methods we have. I will show you how to access these methods by typing the by creating the object and typing the object name. How to access we will discuss. Okay. So similar to Glide Record, we have Glide Aggregator and Glide Secure. So both are also used to perform database operations. Okay, Glide Record, similar to Glide Record, we have Glide Aggregator and Glide Secure. So both we use to perform database operations. But the difference is Glide Aggregator will provide aggregating functionality. So where you can aggregate and you can get the order by, group by, such kind of like some average. So if you want to get such kind of information, you will have to use Glide Aggregator. And Glide Secure, if you want to add more security to your operations, so you can make use of Glide Secure API, and you can use Glide Secure so that it will execute even ACLs as well. So these are the three important APIs: Glide Record, Glide Secure, and Glide Aggregator. All right. So inside we have many methods. I'll show you. So I'll also give you the document for this. You can refer it. Let me show you. Let me send that document with you. Document here. Glide class overview. You can even download it and remaining. But you can go through this. You will understand more. I mean definitions and information. You will get it. So I'm sending this. So download option is there. You can even download it to Excel as well. Sorry, PDF. Okay, any questions?
So share that link in the chat box.
Already I sent.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, then if you don't have any questions, thanks for joining. We'll continue tomorrow. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.